What a cool place. Ops, yeah, that's cool. Let's see if there's anything cool in there. I get my flashlight out here. That looks pretty bare. But wow, look at that. Ain't that something? This is a pretty hardy place to explore. This is a pretty cool set of buildings though. In 2013 it was added to the Canada's National Registry of Historic Buildings, saving it from demolition. So if it weren't for that, these buildings wouldn't even be standing right now. A lot of people are trying to save this place and preserve it. It's hard trying to turn it into a museum or something though. That costs a lot of money and those funds just aren't there. Maybe someday though. There's even more buildings over there, up on that little hill. I don't know how well you can see it from here. It's a very big site. Look at this. This little hole leads into the basement. Looks like it leads into the rest of the building too. Spooky. Look at this. A little window. Oh yeah. You can see old studs on the end of the drywall there. The metal studs. Looks like there's some wood ones too. Yeah, there's some wooden studs too. Definitely has the abandoned building mold smell. You gotta love the abandoned building mold smell. Reminds me of all the other abandoned buildings I've been to. Starting to get pretty dark out. I would have been here earlier, but it seems that the entire province of Ontario is under construction. Took me forever just to get out of Toronto. That's okay. It being darker out adds to the spooky atmosphere. So there's the building we were just walking by. And there's this building here. Sorry if it seems I'm rushing, but it's getting dark out fast. Once the sun goes down, you won't be able to see anything. So, I'm trying to get as much of the exterior shots as I can right now. Oh wow. Looks like somebody broke a door down. Oh yeah, there's definitely mold in there. Whole lot of it. It's the first time I've ever explored anywhere at night. Not intentional, of course. Just happened to be that way. When your entire country is apparently under construction. Wow. Looks like there was an arsonist in here. Incredible. That's really terrible. Really terrible. Ooh, but it looks cool though. Probably leads up to the roof. So that was the inside of that building. That was pretty cool. As you can see, it is very dark out now, so I have to use the infrared. It's a shame that this place has been torn apart so much with so much graffiti and whatnot, though. Yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
In the year 1922, this land would be donated to the Canadian government by a horticulturist named John H. Jury. At the time, this land was known as the Darch Farm, but soon construction would begin on the Bowmanville Boys Training School, a special type of school designed specifically for juvenile delinquents. The school would open in 1927, and it would operate smoothly for 14 years, but on the onset of the Second World War, it would be converted into a POW camp. The denizens of the camp were quickly evacuated. The Canadian government gave the army only half a year to convert it into a POW camp. They hastily put up guard towers, barbed wire fences, and other defenses that would be needed. In October of 1941, Camp 30 would officially open. The camp would be used to hold high-ranking officials of the German military. Life inside Camp 30 was almost luxurious compared to most POW camps. Due to its former status as a boys' school, it had many amenities that other camps would lack. This included a pool, athletic complexes, a soccer field, and more. These POWs would also work on the Darch Farm. The prisoners were also allowed to leave the camp and go into the nearby town of Bowmanville, as long as they gave their word that they would not attempt to escape. It seemed like Camp 30 would remain peaceful until the end of the war. However, things would change during the Battle of Bowmanville. When Hitler gave the order to shackle Allied prisoners of war, Britain gave the order to shackle German prisoners of war in retaliation. At Camp 30, the guards would ask for 100 volunteers to be shackled, but not a single prisoner stepped up. Instead, they resisted. They would barricade themselves inside of the cafeteria and fight back against the guards with hockey sticks, baseball bats, food trays, and anything else they could find. After 2 days, the Canadian Army would regain control of the camp, and all 125 prisoners would be sent off to different POW camps. In 1942, the Kriegsmarine hatched a plan to break out 4 skilled U-boat commanders from Camp 30. Their plan was to have the prisoners tunnel out of Camp 30, then rendezvous 1,400 kilometers away in New Brunswick, where a U-boat would pick them up. The message that was sent to the prisoners was intercepted by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, also known as the Mounties. The Mounties, working with Canadian intelligence, hatched a plan. They wanted to capture a U-boat in Canadian waters, so they didn't tip off the prisoners, and they allowed them to make their escape attempt. When the U-boat came to pick up the prisoners in September of 1943, they were greeted by the Canadian Navy, who attempted unsuccessfully to capture them. In the years since World War II, Camp 30 has become abandoned and fallen into disrepair. It was slated to be demolished, and housing complexes were going to be constructed in its place. However, in the year 2013, it was added to Canada's National Registry of Historic Buildings, protecting it from the wrecking ball. In 2016, the property was sold to the municipality of Clarington, and they announced that they would begin to clean up the site, destroying the buildings that have not received a historical status, and cleaning up the graffiti and installing security cameras. Despite this declaration, as of the making of this video, no effort has gone forward in cleaning up the site. Camp 30 is an incredible and often overlooked piece of World War II history. Its dark past has now seen the light of day, and although its future may be uncertain, Camp 30 of Bowmanville will never be forgotten.